It's June 29th, and the strange side of history awaits. Today, we have a department store collapsing in seconds, a theater consumed by flames during a play, and a painting that turned into a multi-million-dollar obsession. Let's begin. On June 29th, 1995, shoppers filled the Sampoong department store in South Korea. It was a luxury building in one of the city's busiest districts, but above the crowds, the building was already dying. Years earlier, it had been designed as an office building and then illegally changed to a department store. The support columns were cut away for escalators, the heavy fifth floors added, and massive air conditioning units were dragged across the roof. Then, on the day of the disasters, the warning became impossible to ignore. Cracks were widening on the upper floors, the ceiling sagged, and strange sounds moved through the building. Managers closed part of the store, but they did not evacuate everyone. The afternoon sales were too valuable. At 5:50 p.m., a final alarm sounded. Minutes later, the roof gave way. In less than 20 seconds, the 5-story department store folded downward floor by floor, crushing into the basements below. 502 people were killed, 937 were injured. But in the rubble, rescuers found survivors still alive days later, and even one woman was pulled out after 17 days. The building had collapsed almost instantly, but the truth behind it had been cracking for years. On June 29, 1613, a crowd packed into London's Globe Theatre to watch a play about power, kings, and betrayal. The play was Henry VIII, and William Shakespeare's company wanted the moment to feel grand. So, when King Henry made his entrance, the stages and cannons roared above the audience. One blast carried something deadly. A piece of burning gunpowder shot upwards and landed in the theatre's dry thatched roof. At first, some people didn't notice, but then the smoke began to rise. Within moments, flames crawled across Shakespeare's wooden theater. The Globe was open to the sky, packed with nearly 3,000 people, and built from material fire loved. Panic could have turned the playhouse into a tomb, but somehow the crowd escaped. The entire theater burnt to the ground in less than an hour, and the only reported injury was one man whose breeches had caught fire, and someone put them out with ale. Shakespeare's Globe was rebuilt within the year, but this time they gave it a tiled roof. On June 29, 1987, a painting by Vincent van Gogh entered a quiet London auction room. It was called The Bridge of Tranquetil, and it was painted in 1888. On the canvas was an iron bridge and a stretch of water, uneasy brightness of southern France. But the man who painted it had never known wealth like this. Van Gogh lived in poverty. He struggled for recognition and died long before the world decided his work was priceless. Nearly a century later, the bidding began. The price raised higher and higher until the painting sold to an anonymous European buyer for $20.4 million. At the time, it had become the second highest price ever paid for a painting at auction, because in 1932, the same painting had been bought for just $8,000. Van Gogh's name had almost become mythical. A man who could barely sell his art in life was now moving fortunes from beyond the grave. Another day, another strange bite from history. Like, comment, and subscribe. Your next eerie dose is just a day away.